Disney has given us many great films over the years, movies that can be enjoyed by all, regardless of age. You can be young, old, or older. A lot of their movies tend to be happy, cheerful, and just overall nice to watch. But there is one movie that deviates from all of the above, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. One of, if not the darkest Disney film to ever touch the big screen. And that is solely because of one reason: Judge Claude Frollo, the personification of the word evil. He's everything you would expect to see in a terrifying villain. Heartless, violent, manipulative, and he's a bit racist as well. He knew nothing besides how to commit absolute atrocities, and we see this right from the jump. Frollo's first appearance is of him trying to duck down an innocent woman. I can't lie, she's low-key moving though. How is she outrunning the horse? He eventually catches up, pulls the bag off her and boots her in the head. And just like that, he caught a body. But to his surprise, he hears the sound of a baby coming from the bag. He looks at the baby and realizes it is chopped. So he does what any sane person would do: throw it down a well. But the priest of Notre Dame stops him from following through with the murder. He tells him to take care of the child as an act of contrition for taking his mother off the map for no reason. But you already know he did not do this. The only thing he did was name the child Quasimodo, which means half-formed. And once that was done, he confined him to the church and didn't allow him to leave for 20 years. Not once did he touch grass. He's doing a life sentence and doesn't even know it. Throughout the years, Frollo was polluting Quasimodo's mind with nothing but lies, saying that his mother abandoned him as a baby and that anyone else would have drowned him. That last part he actually said, word for word. So naturally, he's looking at Frollo like he's some sort of saint, but yet he's the worst person in the world. They even sang a ditty about how unattractive Quasimodo is.
You are deformed.
I am deformed.
And you are ugly.
And I am ugly.
And these are crimes for which the world shows little pity.
I mean, yeah, he's chopped, but you don't have to make a song about it. After he was done calling his adopted son ugly, we catch Frollo talking to one of his captains who recently returned from war. He was telling Phoebus that for the past 20 years he's been taking care of the gypsies. Now, I don't know what he means by this statement, but I'm gonna play you a clip that might give you some insight.
Stop.
Sir?
Ease up. Wait between lashes.
Yeah, you tell me what that sounds like. As you can tell, Frollo has a strong hate for the Romani, or as he calls them, gypsies. The Roma are a group of people who sought refuge in the streets of Paris as well as in a secret place called the Court of Miracles. At the start of the film, Frollo caught some entering into Paris through the docks, and that's how he ended up in a chase with the fastest woman alive. You would think that he had some tragic backstory that explains his strong hate for them. Maybe a gypsy killed his parents, or worse, wiped out his entire clan. But no, none of that. He had no backstory in this film. Frollo just believes that they are the main issue of Paris and must be eradicated. Even Phoebus was kinda confused as to why he hated them because they weren't causing harm to anyone. This girl was literally trying to get her bread up and Frollo's men started harassing her. I don't care what anyone says, this guy was looking for a reason to hate. He saw them being merry in the streets and decided, yep, genocide. The irony is that after expressing his hatred for them, he becomes entranced by a Romani woman during the annual Festival of Fools. He may not show it here, but boy, just know that deep down, he was fiending for her. I can't lie, he was shooting for the moon with this one. Why would she ever give him the time of day when she knows what he's doing to her people? Plus, this guy's hella old. I know old guys can still get the hose, but he ain't got it like that. Esmeralda mocked him and called him out of all of his hate crimes in front of the townspeople, which he did not like. Oh yeah, Quasimodo was at the festival, but as you can tell, he did not have a good time. Esmeralda now has to do the race after speaking against Frollo and freeing Quasimodo from the ropes. With the help of some of the townspeople, she takes out a couple soldiers before hiding out in the church. Frollo finds her of course, but he gets told to leave the church by the priest. He pretends to leave and instead hides behind this pillar. And brace yourself, because what you're about to witness is borderline grape. Frollo straight up forces himself on her, arm behind her back, hand on neck, way too close for comfort. This is disgusting. They rated this film G in America. How is this scene safe for kids? Esmeralda pushes him away of course and he sees himself out of the church for all this time. But he made sure the guards had the place on lockdown so she couldn't escape. I didn't think his actions could get any worse than what he did here, but after that rejection, he went off the deep end. He got home and started singing the notorious Hellfire song, where he speaks about his lust for Esmeralda, but he's conflicted because he hates her entire race. One of his soldiers stepped inside mid-song to let him know that Esmeralda managed to bypass the guards that were outside and had escaped Notre Dame, with the help of Quasimodo of course. After hearing this new intel, he comes to the decision that if he can't have her, then no one can. So you know what he does? He sets the entire city on fire. He sent out his entire army to search for one woman. I'm telling you guys, Frollo is the biggest incel in fiction. During the search, he comes to the realization that Quasi may have played a role in her escape. So he heads back to Notre Dame and confronts Quasi for helping Esmeralda. And he was spamming gypsy like crazy in this scene. It's basically the N-word to him. Phoebus switches sides after realizing that Frollo is beyond insane and teams up with Quasi to look for Esmeralda. They find the Romani hideout, also known as the Court of Miracles. But they were very much unaware that Frollo was following them the whole time. So these men inadvertently caused the wipeout of a race. Frollo and his soldiers storm the place and pretty much capture everyone. It wasn't long after the raid that Esmeralda was put to a witch burning with her entire race in attendance. This is the literal definition of, if I can't have her, then no one can. Relatable. Frollo has no shame because he really tried to shoot his shot while she was on the stake. Some guys just can't take a hint. The stake gets set alight, but come on now, this is a Disney movie. We know damn well she isn't gonna burn to ash. So this is the part where Quasimodo gets a Zenkai boost and breaks free from the chains Frollo put him in after the raid. He then uses a rope to turn into Spider-Man and swings to the rescue. He frees Esmeralda from the flames and takes out a couple bombs before swinging back to the church. He gets Esmeralda to safety by climbing to the top of Notre Dame and placing her on his bed. From this point onwards, it was basically an all-out brawl. Frollo and his army against pretty much everyone. The Parisians all hated his guts, so they came together to not only free the gypsies, but to revolt against the tyrannical actions of Judge Claude Frollo. Despite all the pushback on the army, Frollo managed to find a way to enter Notre Dame. And trust me when I say he wanted all the smoke. He even threw the priest down the stairs for the vine. His place down below is definitely secured. Frollo slides into the room where Quasi and Esmeralda were and tries to send him to the Shadow Realm, but Quasimodo reversed the sneak attack and knocks Frollo onto the floor. But then he just brought out a bigger sword. The scrap gets taken outside with Quasimodo and Esmeralda hiding underneath the ledge. I don't know why he thought this was a smart idea. He turns into Spider-Man one more time, moving from pillar to pillar with Esmeralda holding on for dear life. She manages to get to safety, but Quasimodo was still on the ledge. Frollo finally tells Quasimodo the truth about what happened 20 years ago, and for a brief moment he let his guard down. Frollo used this as an opportunity to blindside him, but this move flopped. He manages to swing to the next pillar and pulls himself up. He stands tall in front of Esmeralda and gets ready to send her into the next life. But the stone he was standing on starts to crumble and he loses his footing. He tries to grab onto the stone, but it was no use. He was already staring death in his face. The stone inevitably breaks off and he falls into the lake of fire. And so ended the life of Judge Claude Frollo. He was a true villain from start to finish. Rest in peace, you won't be missed. We get that signature happy ending that you see in almost every Disney film. Quasimodo was finally allowed to step outside since Frollo was no longer in the picture. Phoebus and Esmeralda get married and the Parisians no longer have to live in fear. Thank you guys for watching, and as usual, that's all she wrote.
語れない眠れないとろい目